do, do. Hello. All right, beautiful. So I'm here live with Sharna and Ewan Loud of Splay Art Therapy and Pathways to Harmony. And I'm about to experience a very personal process of art therapy. And I wanted to stream it somewhere and share
All right, beautiful.
this process so that people could see what it's like to have a session with her. And I'll edit this later, so if anybody catches it before it's edited, this is exactly what's happening. So, hey, Sharna, do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself and your background and what we're going to do to here today?
Yes.
Take down some
Yeah.
paper. We're doing an
Not
online
sure.
therapy session, so tape down some paper. Got my
Oil pastels. Is that all you have with you? Is that the only medium?
I actually have.
So yes, I'm trained in bilateral art therapy, also known as initiatic art therapy, or some know it as somatic art therapy. So this is where you close your eyes and your hands lead. So it's a perspective to do with haptic perception and how our hands hold more memory or can access more memory than we realize. Like 70% of our nervous system just to move a finger compared to 30% to move your whole spine around. Like it's an interesting perception of a modality. Oh, what's this? Chalks.
Yeah, so I've got soft chalk pastels. We've got some fixed medium and felt dual brushes.
Do you have tissues close by?
I do not, but I can.
You do not. That might be wise also. Also because chalk pastels get messy too.
So we've got everything, and I need some tissues.
Please and thank you. And a glass of water if you don't have one. So yeah, a bit more about haptic perception. It works with archetypes. So how your body marks memory through archetypal patterns. So you notice that certain movements will have certain experience points, because the thing is you might feel it as a circle, but a circle might feel different to different people. So they're drop-in points to understand the emotion that was locked into that archetype, which is a movement. Yeah? Okay. So when you're ready, Naomi.
And so is there a medium to have ready?
Not yet. Let's talk a bit about what's present for you at the moment. Is there anything particular? Are we going in?
So right now, this moment, I'm preparing to transition. So I'm getting ready to host container for a year and a day. So that'll start up in 2 hours here. And so I have that on my mind. And then of just what it means to like hold space and where I need to go. And I'm feeling I need to do some quick response travel right now and move. And I need to be at certain spots at certain times. And I think it's actually a lot more to do with the group than I was thinking about, like realizing at first. And it's slowly just showing itself. So I have this interesting like fire to go and do, but then like the timing and like this like kind of stunting feeling kind of happening. And this morning I was noticing, oh, this morning I had a lot of discomfort in like change. And it was that like there was a different yoga instructor, and
Mm.
it was a really strong yin practice, and it was really like hard on my shoulder, and it was things I couldn't do, and it wasn't good for my body, and I actually left with like a sore hip and a sore shoulder. And I just kind of found myself in like spaces of discomfort and noticing like her rushing and things like this. And so I went very much into my critical judgment, and I was uncomfortable with the fact that she wasn't noticing the older lady, and that she didn't look at like Carrie's schedule and what Carrie does, which is like it's Chinese medicine. It's like tapping, pressure points, myths. She talks for 15 minutes at the beginning. We lay on the ground for like 6 minutes at a time. It's a really it's there's a number of people with injuries and elderly that come regularly. So then I was frustrated, and a few points I just like spoke. Well, I also just moved my body. I was like, I can't, and then I started crying because it was really like it was
Mm.
painful, but then also like my pride and like I want to be able to do this, but then also finding I could do certain things more than I thought I could. And then so it's like, how much is the yin practice, and is my mental anguish that's telling me I'm in pain? So then I was in this like tension point back and forth in myself of like, am I actually in pain? Is this the pain that comes with like the mental sensations? Is this actually like spikes of pain? Where am I at?
Mm.
This instructor ableist? And then I was like, "Rrr," and then like she had this moment where she was like, "Oh, we all have injuries, so do what you need to for your body." Because I'm using blocks, I'm using blankets, I'm putting the bolster, I'm doing like every way to support myself so that I can get myself in some kind of stretching that muscle. and
Mm-hmm.
um, and she was really attentive and like attending to it. So then I was like observing. I'm like, is this yin? Is this am I supposed to be breathing through the pain, or is this actually body pain and this is bad for me and I have to move out of it? And so it was like this back and forth in myself of noticing this like critics that comes on board that then makes me an expert and puts me in a
Mm.
position of power, but it's when I'm feeling vulnerable, right? And I'm feeling uncomfortable, and I'm hurting and I'm physically hurting. But it's me who is trying to do the posture that I know I can't, and I
Yes,
keep up
posturing.
the class because I don't want to like not be, but it's not what I needed. It wasn't the morning class I'm used to. So then I noticed I have this quite like this strong critic that becomes an expert as a protector, and this like power stance of like, and so then I just started to do what I spoke up a few times, but it was an interesting tension point for me.
Mm.
And like yeah, it was just a bit of a it was weird. It was just a weird yoga morning. And I was just like, you're subbing for a TMC teacher who like we do this and we do this and we do this
Exactly.
and we do this, and then we lay on the ground,
Right.
and then we do this some more and we do this, and like, and we hold here and we like breathe. And like, it's like this is what yin yoga for immunity is usually literally for the lymph system.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as you said that
Yin taught like a yin class. So we're
after
holding
touches.
postures for like 6 minutes, stretching, lifting in weird ways, and it's really cool to learn new stretches. So I was trying to be like learn the new stretch, but then also I was like, you're not showing us how to get in and out of it safely. She's like, oh, just go
Mm.
wizard into it. You just slide down. And I tried, and I was like, that doesn't work. Like, and I was like, can you please demonstrate how to do that? And then she's like, oh yeah, okay. So like then like this to like this, and I was like, yeah, it's actually. So I just had, but I think it's because I was feeling vulnerable that then I went into my judgmental critic, and I was like, this morning was filled with, I have a sore hip
Mm.
now.
Can you put your hands on your hip now? Both your hands?
Yeah.
Both your hands on your hip. So what I'm hearing is there was an activation this morning, and I heard a question amongst which I'm sharing that same curiosity with now that came up in all of that, which was, is this pain mental? or is this actually in the body? And then there's also this sense of I see it as a hardness that comes in to protect when it's soft. You know, you're looking for that softness, and the hardness has had to come in more so than it is. Yeah, so there's still these two elements, and that how to get in and out of both safely is what I'm hearing in yourself, and it is probably body and mental. And it's now stuck in your hip because you've activated that this morning.
It's sore. I'm pretty sure my
Yeah.
hip is sore.
Yeah.
Just that's not what my hip needed. It didn't need that.
No. So when we were talking earlier, and I wrote it down, when you were talking about that zeal
Because I just
that connects.
on the practice differently, you know?
Yeah.
So then there's like this
Yeah.
aspect of like, it's my own pride that did it because I do know how to like the like and just the awareness like I probably can't do that without hurting later. And then like I'm like, well, let's just try go into it. And I'm like, no.
But you did go into it, and now you're here with a session, giving it space, right?
A headache.
Now it's got space. If you
Yeah.
So this is what we want to work with. Do we want to go in and work on the hip? Do you think that might be a good place to start? And then sense into what other spaces present, because you spoke a lot about belonging in spaces, and it's still kind of the same narrative. I feel once we start drawing, we'll just see what feelings come up. If you had an emotion, a word to mark an emotion right now, what's your state? What are you feeling?
Word to mark an emotion right now.
Yeah.
I just feel trust.
Okay.
Yeah, like faith. I just feel comfortable.
I'm going to go into a bit of a breathing exercise now. So are your feet flat on the ground?
They are now.
Yeah. Just settling in to the soles of your feet. And I want you to kind of push them down one at a time, just so gently, just so your hips kind of just activating each one as you push that energy down through your feet. Kind of like you're walking steadily, but softly,
Chairs to be
solid and soft.
taller than my legs.
And I invite you now to lift your heels up and then to your toes, but do it very gently because I don't want you to feel any discomfort in your hip. And just test which one's more comfortable, if the pressure, the steady pushing, or the up and down motion of the rocking of the feet. You find which posture suits you better, which movement, which container. And from this space, I invite you now to notice your breath. And now, as you're noticing your breath and you're continuing that movement from your hips down your thighs, through your calves to your feet, I want you to imagine that there is a beam of light coming up from the center of the earth up through your spine. And it brings a lengthening to your spine as it comes right up through the top of your head and filters down a teepee of light around you, like the bottom of a diamond, coming down wide under your feet. And this teepee of light now fills up with your essence. And now imagine that there's a tree behind you. And with that strengthening of your spine, you can now lean back and soften, knowing that the tree is there to support you. Now I invite you to bring your attention into your hands. And let's now bring that movement from your feet up into your hands. And just noticing your breath as this movement has transitioned. Okay, now I invite you to grab a medium, one in each hand. Beautiful. Now with your eyes closed, I want you to reach for the very top of the page. Right to the top, as far as you can stretch, and feel your shoulders stretching with you. Like, take this moment to really feel your body. Yeah. And as you come down, I want you to create a bowl shape. You can come down first, but as you come back up, we're going to bring the hands together. Yeah. That's it. And now create the bowl and bring the bowl down towards you. Mm-hmm. And right up to the top of the page. That's it. Fill the space. I wonder what would happen if you reversed that movement and brought them towards you instead. Just notice if that feels different in the body, if that moves the energy differently.
It gives me a pressure in the front of my forehead.
Okay, change it back. Let's go forward again. Okay, let's pause for a moment. I invite you to take a breath just to reset. Reset. Come back to that pressure in your feet. Come back to that tree. Strengthen your spine. Okay, now with your hands together, let's draw a smaller bowl, kind of like at that center point there, just small little bowls. And let's bring it up to the top of the page. That's it, let's move it up. That's it, just keep. And now notice that pressure that you activated in your mind a moment ago. Let's fill that bowl up with that pressure you felt. Let's find somewhere to hold that energy. A mark. Mm-hmm. What are you noticing in your body?
My right shoulder has some discomfort. In front of my forehead has some pressure. My stomach feels a little bit nauseated.
Okay.
My feet feel cold, but I feel comfort and
Is the comfort what's coming around this space?
like just like kind of it just feels comforting. Like it just feels like the movement feels like it's just goes into my shoulders and it feels like a nice stretch in my shoulders
Mm-hmm.
and not like stretching out and like
Yeah,
but for
giving
some
it
reason
that
at the
space.
bottom it feels important to bulb out. Doesn't want to go straight up.
Mm. We're going to keep going until you feel that that's completely exhausted. What I'm noticing is that space is actually coming closer to the bottom of the page. Now it's at the bottom of the page. Is there a mark? Does it stay at the bottom of the page? Let your hands tell you. Mm-hmm. Shall we get a new page? New color, maybe?
Not poor. Oh, you're a little melted.
I love that sound effect.
SMR. Made my nose all runny. This is why you told me to have Kleenex, eh?
Yeah.
You knew. How long have you been doing this, Sharna?
It's good to get messy.
How long have you been doing this?
7? Are we going on 8 years? Hmm.
Nice. I was like 20 years.
No. Doing art therapy for 13, but only bilateral drawing for 8.
Yeah. What was your first art therapy stuff in?
Pardon?
First 5 years? What was the first 5 years?
That was the transpersonal art therapy.
Yeah, that's a really
With
cool
the more shamanic lens on psychology.
Mm-hmm. And that was where the Jungian theory more runs rampant, hey?
Mm. Excellent. We'll just sit that down behind you because we'll grab that again later. Thanks.
Da, 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 da. Normally in an art therapy session with Sharna live, she would change out your paper, be able to sit in gentle meditation, but online we make do. And we just keep us in as we lift the tape.
Okay. I'm going to encourage you to put a chalk pastel in each hand before we go into a visualization. And just notice the feeling. If there's an impulse, or reaction, not wanting to hold them, listen to that. You can choose something else.
Good with the chalk pastel.
Yeah. Just your hands may have a different sensation once you get there. We'll see. Right? You can bring in a fixed medium if you feel you need to. But let's come back to the feet now. Whether you want to rock them or you want to do the pulse or play around with both. We'll just sit here for a moment as we connect with this new medium, this new quality. And now extending the spine, feeling that light and that TP. And the presence of your whole light field. And that tree behind you, bringing the support. This time I'd like you to scan through that TP of light and find the space within your field that energy exists. It was at the bottom of the page, and it kind of feels like you've scooped it up. There was a lot of bowls, and there was a lot of movement and pressure. So I feel that it's being held somewhere in your field. So once you've identified that space, I'd like you to give it a movement. Just listening to your hands. They'll know where to move. Mm-hmm. What are you noticing? Another yawn.
Yeah, just big reset.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lightness in the face, in the frontal lobe, a little crisp, almost coldness over the third eye.
Can you give that a movement, that coldness, or a mark? And repeat it once you find the mark. Find its repeating movement. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And what would it be like if you were to slow that down? Slower. And really feel that slowness now in that space. Slowing down time. Can you expand the space now that it's slow enough? Can it take up more space? Or does it need to move? Mm. Mm-hmm.
Getting a pain in my left armpit. It's like a stab in my left armpit.
Can your hands stop where that pain is? That's where it is. Can we give that an expression? Has that pain got a mark?
Yeah. Now it makes it hurt in the forearm and these little stabby spots all like in the front of my
Mm-hmm.
bicep and in the back and the top. It's like bam.
Okay, so I've noticed that we've come to this space and the marks changed into direct lines rather than softness. And when that direct line comes in, the pain comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's get another page and let's try something. We'll just see. Again, if it feels wrong, your hands will show you the right way. You had fine liners there, didn't you? Markers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all funky.
Okay. So with your eyes closed, I invite you to show me a movement, not with any pastels, just with your hands or arms, of what hardness is to you in this moment. What the sense of something being solid and hard. Okay. Okay, can you show me that now with one of those mediums, whichever one you choose?
Uh,
Hardness. Mm-hmm. Okay, there it is. Let's continue that. Yeah, let's keep opening that. Good. Hardness brings structure, it brings form. Well, softness couldn't move. So just feeling your bones, feeling how you're held together. That hardness holds, not just protects. Holds together. What's happening for you, Naomi?
There's a lightning in my head, like a soft um, sensation in my crown of my head.
Yeah. So that hardness comes with a soft sensation. Is
Yeah,
that what I'm hearing?
yeah, it like opens up the front of my third eye in this like cool crispness, and my the crown of my head has just the lightness. There's a presence in my lower back. All of a sudden, I come into my the presence of
Hmm.
my tenderness in my lower back, and I become aware of my posture. And there's just
Let's pause there for a moment. And I'd like you to look down from that soft sensation, that space we're in. Look down to the bottom of your spine and allow it. I'm almost hearing the bottom of your spine saying, thank you for doing all the good things you've done. Hardness, but it can step into the background of the experience sometimes, you know, it's a collaboration here. So just acknowledging each other, looking at each other, seeing that space between each other. Can we now bring a mark to that communication? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. Mm. What's your felt sense in this?
uh,
What's happening?
it feels really tranquil. It feels like Well, it made me yawn. So my body is just kind of feeling this dump of like relaxation coming through it. Feels very hypnotic, very
Mm-hmm.
comforting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes me yawn. Yes.
Hmm. Is that yawn the energy connecting, or is that the energy sort of still resisting?
I feel like it's resetting.
You feel like it's resetting.
Resets
Okay.
it. Like each time I yawn, it feels like really euphoric and just really light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I invite you to come back to that TP of light and just do your scan again and just notice that tranquil feeling that you just found. And just notice where it sits in your field now and how it sits, how the rest of your field relates to it. And how does that feel? What's happening for you now?
There's just like a light tingling sensation in the front of my bridge of my nose.
Your nose?
Yeah, and again, like a coolness in my third eye. There's a
Okay.
bit of pressure on my cranium in the
All right,
front.
let's do a little exercise there. Just pause for a moment. Let's come back to your feet. Bringing that awareness into your feet again. And then noticing your breath. Just finding your natural rhythm. I'd like you to now bring your awareness to the tip of your nose while still focusing on your breathing and your feet. You can maybe feel the cold air coming in through your nostrils, or just the air touching the tip of your nose. And now bring your awareness up to your third eye, your nose to your third eye, like there's a movement moving up now. So you got that movement coming down through your feet with your breath. And that awareness from the tip of your nose to your third eye now goes up to the top of that TP and back down, integrating the felt sense of the skin. Hey, the air touching skin versus the warmth of the body. Again, the two elements and where they meet. No pressures needed. Should just come back to that technology, right? We can flip it like it's a little mirror, just boop, flips, and it can pour back in. Doesn't always need to be pouring out, right? It can come in or out. The pressure is just the invitation, as is the pain. So when you're ready, you can come back and bring all those artworks back up onto the table. You might have a little stretch or toilet break or something first. That's cool.
Shall we start with the first one?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, can we turn it around so that the camera sees it the right way up? Because you know which rotation you drew it in. Right. What do you see actually now that you're looking at it upside down also? You've got a different perspective too. Is it comfortable being that way for you?
Eyes open.
Yes.
It feels more like a not so comfortable. I don't know if I don't so much want it pouring towards me.
Yeah, turn it around. I did think that. Turn it back around. We know which we've seen the shape. Yeah, because that energy would be spilling in towards you again. That would be. So what do you see? What do you remember from that? What was your experience in that picture?
Well, when it's this way, when it's the other way, it feels like a waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
When it's this way, it feels like a scream.
Like a screen. Oh, stream.
Scream.
Oh,
Like, ah!
hey,
Yeah, it feels like that.
right.
Yeah.
Like the sound being thrown out.
I remember it feeling like a bulb, like a flower. But when I look at it, like I said, the other way, it makes me feel like it's a waterfall, like a tangle of emotions coming down in expression. But when
Mm-hmm.
it's this way, it feels more like, yeah, from the water out. This feels very watery, and like there's like,
Question. When you were younger, did you used to scream into pillows or scream underwater, or was that an outlet for you when
yeah,
you're in pain?
yeah. I'd go and
Yeah.
I'd sing at the top of my lungs, and yeah, I'd sing at the top of my,
Yes.
and sometimes I
Yes.
express like in guttural sounds. I'm just like but I like toning, and I like
Mm.
singing. And so
Mm-hmm.
when no one was home, I would sing by myself at the top of my lungs.
Yeah. Okay. Excuse me, I need a cough. Okay. So on the first one too. All right. So at the no, let's look at no, it's the second one, I think. No, it was that one. Okay. No, you've just done so many marks. So at the top of the image, which is our bottom, there was a lot of which you've done in a few of our sessions of these kind of like your clawing kind of
Yeah,
marks. Is that what it feels like to you? Or I don't know, like they were very gentle. You weren't heavily digging, but you can see them all
that's
at the top. And you were up there for quite some time, but those lines weren't coming down,
mhm,
right? There's a lot of energy. And you'll also notice that the bottom of the bowl doesn't touch the bottom of the page, which also indicates that it's more higher up in the torso, the emotion, right? It's not a grounded emotion. So it is, yeah. So we can see all the emotions of you coming to activate in the body through the archetypes. And the bowl was all about holding, but the holding was in your head. These marks were all up in the top, right?
mhm,
And then you were getting all those pressures in your mind and things. So we moved to a softer medium. So that's where we'll go to your next picture. And this is where, yeah, that's right. Because in the blue one, you were doing these marks like this. Do you remember that one? Like there was something in a space and the water was sort of going around a rock or something, like there was a stream and there was like this water
yeah,
was going around the rock. It's kind of how it felt looking at you.
yeah. It went out.
That's what that space was. Yeah. Yeah. And see the quadrant in which you've done that, how it's still in that bottom quadrant closest to you.
Mhm,
Yeah. So if we look at this as a timeline, that quadrant, so if the page was in 4, it's like your birth, your childhood, yeah, your youth, your maturity, right? So it can also tell you developmentally where that emotion is.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So
So
that's
this
why I asked if this is how you used to
here
deal
is
with things as a kid through the.
that's the kid section.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was in the mind even up here with the marks.
Yeah. It's not getting past here, right? So then we used a soft medium to soften that rather than need to, that was just a nice, gentle extension. So bringing that yellow one up because you started in the same quadrant again.
Mm. Okay, so this
Yeah,
one.
that's the way. Yep, that's the rotation. So it's still that bottom quadrant, even though you
I'm
expanded it
startled.
out.
I'm startled that I wasn't at the top of the page.
Mm,
I was certain I was at the top of the page.
going the whole page up, yeah. We
Yeah.
were encouraging you to take up more space, right? But it was soft and there was a lot of feminine
Thought
movements.
I was covering the whole page, corner to corner. That's so bizarre that there's that much
Mm,
spacing. Because like
yeah,
when I was doing it, I really felt like I was hitting every corner of the paper.
yeah. So the notes I've written down, because you started in that section and you were just really soft, right? And then the eights came more, this more like movement with a more defined mark. That was all your softness taking up as space, right? And you felt you reached your corners.
Yeah.
You know your hard lines, you know where they are. Yet, if we look at this page as an expression of all that space that you are, there's still space that that softness isn't touching.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, from here, you started bringing in those hard lines and felt that pressure again. See these hard lines at the top coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you only did that 3 times until you felt that pressure. So again, we hit that same point before with the space where the softness comes to that hard point.
Mm.
So from there, we moved into using hard materials, very fixed materials, where you can't press too hard because you'll break the texture, right? Did you notice that?
Mm.
Were you being more aware of how you were using the marker
Well,
so
yeah,
it
you
didn't?
have to, so that you don't ruin the brush or that you don't like there's an awareness
Yeah,
of the medium. Yeah, no,
right.
because these ones
Yeah.
dusty and like pressure, and it makes noise. As for that one, makes a different noise, and yeah, you have
Mm,
more like it does have just
mm,
a different awareness of it because you can't just press it on and
that's
push.
right. That's right. Yeah. And in most of our sessions in the past, I normally ask you to get your whole hands in soft mediums, but it was different this time.
Yeah.
It wasn't about that. So coming to the last one, this is where we had to kind of find a way to make hard meat soft.
Mhm.
And even though you were using a hard medium you couldn't put too much pressure on, you still used feminine marks as well. They're all very curved marks, and even in that so that is the archetype for opening.
Huh. Okay.
But you were coming in and out first because you were trying to. That's what language you used, right? How do I get in and out of this space, this pain space? And you did that until you found those feminine movements. And I've never done this with someone with markers before. So I've learned a lot from this in how that works, Naomi, because from there you felt the softness. It wasn't hard direct lines in your head finally. You had that shift. And then what would you say you could see your when you had to look down from that? What did you see? What did you experience there?
There was a lot of like softness, and there was a lot of just light tingling and coolness in my third eye and my crown.
Mm,
There was a lot of big yawns that were really euphoric, and I don't quite recall
mm.
what was going on exactly during this one.
Well, the feeling you came to was tranquil.
Yeah.
You use that word, the feeling was tranquil. And I checked in a few times and you keep yawning. So I feel the tranquility was what was needed. I do you
But
feel
because the figure eights in this configuration is an opening, you were saying? What's the archetype in?
the opening, the coming down and out? The figure eight's a balance. That's when two elements are dancing together, right?
Hmm.
Whatever those energies are, those elements are.
Okay.
So that dance and that tranquility is what we're going to close the session with. If you're happy to finish that there, do you
Yeah.
feel complete? Do you need any more marks? Do you need to contain the space or build a bigger border around this?
I'm
What do
gonna
you feel you need?
hold it for a half second. No, it feels complete. It feels complete.
Mhm.
So thank you, Sharna, with your amazing display art therapy. So anybody who's in Uthka Iluxarama, Sharna is one of the Po. And so depending on your tier, or if you just want to access for a sliding scale during your time with us in Uthka Iluxarama, Sharna is one of the Po, and this would be one of your online therapy sessions. It may or may not look something